So the markets have not been doing much lately that's been inspiring. They've just really been going down. There has been a mild uptrend that we've seen in the last week, but that doesn't really apply to the majority of the market participants. There's one group of investors that is concerned here. That is the whales, because they tend to be using this time. So this is a time when people are down in terms of their markets. The whales are using this time to accumulate some big positions in some key projects that they view to be long-term valuable holds. We're going to look at what they're buying, and we're going to take a look at the news, break it down, and try to make sense of all of this volatility that we continue to see. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie, and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest, okay? Genuinely, I do wish you well, but I'm not a financial or investment advisor. Please remember that, and also be reminded that by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. Okay, so let's first talk about how Metaplanet has acquired 330 Bitcoin for $28.2 million. Bitcoin is up modestly, but it's still up over the course of the last week, and thus it's showing signs of life. Again, Japanese company Metaplanet, they've added another 330 BTC to their position at a cost of just over $28 million. The company now, for reference, has almost 5,000 Bitcoin on its balance sheet. And you may or may not have heard of Metaplanet just yet, but they're actually the first Japanese company to use Bitcoin in their treasury in the same way that MicroStrategy does in the United States. We also have the $10 trillion Charles Schwab. They've jumped into crypto. Schwab is going to be offering Bitcoin and crypto-related services to customers soon. If you're hearing about them for the first time, I doubt it, but Schwab is one of the biggest investment firms and banks in the United States, which of course means that this is going to represent easier access for millions of Americans. This comes at a pretty good time as some new data has come out on Bitcoin's long-term holders. BTC's longest-term holders are holding very strong right now. And so it looks like the weekends have been shaken out, or at least most of them, after some selling at $97,000. Most of the selling on the way down to $78K, and then back to the current price are from the weekends. More than 3/4 of BTC's holders are long-term holders, and at this point, they're not selling. They can't be convinced to sell. They're not scared into selling. They are firm and they're holding. So, of course, that's good news for holders. That's good news for bulls. It's not just Bitcoin, however. We also see that whales are accumulating altcoins as well. We're going to get now into the three altcoins, the three projects that whales are accumulating.
So BlackRock recently expanded its tokenized money market fund to Solana. What does this signify about the blockchain's expansion into institutional adoption and wider trends?
We're super excited about BlackRock bringing their BUIDL product, which is one of the flagship money market funds in the industry, to Solana. Solana, we've been working on partnering with institutions for quite a while now, because I think that our vision for what blockchains are is that it should be global financial infrastructure that bring all of the assets available to people around the world that have access to the internet. But I think there now is consensus that the best assets want to be everywhere, and the best assets want to be able to sort of meet demand and meet buyers and meet holders where they are. And increasingly, if you look at crypto as an asset class, we've got $3 to $4 trillion of assets on chain, and this is now a new distribution platform. And that's why I think some of the best assets from the best asset managers in the world are now looking at this as a really not just viable, but also desirable distribution platform for their assets. So it starts with a money market fund, and that's, I think, how folks kind of run the tokenization infrastructure. Once you've tokenized a money market fund, we've already seen private credit funds come online, and then that's going to open up pretty quickly into the whole world of traditional finance assets, which taken as a whole, I think something around $100 trillion of assets.
We begin here with Solana and BlackRock expanding to Solana. BlackRock and its BUIDL fund for investing in RWAs and newly tokenized assets, they announced that they're expanding to Solana. So we actually don't hear much about RWA activity from Solana, and so this is a little bit of a surprise here. But as Lily Liu of Solana explained in the clip, having access to BUIDL's, that's BUIDL's tokenized money market fund on Solana kind of makes sense, and that's because it's where most of the retail activity is now. And the chain survived all kinds of tests to its network during the last meme coin season, which was actually a pretty heavy series of stress tests if you think about it. Liu says, quote, "The best assets want to be everywhere, and you can't do that and exclude the chain with the most activity." That makes sense, to be fair. In a related story, it looks like BlackRock is buying Solana for its portfolio and its ETF application from February, but we've yet to confirm that on-chain. Solana also led March with $146 million following the crazy meme coin surge that we all experienced in previous months. And really, this is another reason why whales continue to love Solana, right? Because it's a chain that's proving it's not a one-trick pony. It's not one and done after the meme coin season and explosion that we saw. We reported on our X account a couple of days ago that Solana dApps generated more revenue in March than dApps from any other chain. And they earned 46% of all blockchain revenue last month, which is very dominant if you think about it. Solana is proving once again that there's a life after meme coins, which is a good thing. And it's showing resilience here and a little bit of diversity in terms of what it offers. And Solana also just flipped ETH in terms of staking market cap. That is the market value of all staked tokens. Ethereum, of course, has been number one ever since they moved to a proof of stake model. They switched from proof of work, POW, to proof of stake, POS. And now Sol's stake market cap is a little over $54 billion. As you know, this is a pretty big vote of confidence for the network of people buying, holding, and then by extension, of course, staking the token. Not only is the staking market cap going up and dApp revenue, but revenue across Solana is at more than double the pace of last year. Their Q1 revenue this year is more than half of 2024's annual revenue. So growth is really only going up with Solana. The numbers here, the metrics, are actually showing themselves to be very strong, hence the attention and the accumulation by the whales. This Altcoin Buzz Spotlight is brought to you by Sui. And if we take a look at the market, you could say that it's gone crazy really over the last 30 days. We saw two huge liquidations of over $1 billion and a pump and dump over the weekend, as we've been talking about in this video. But some coins like SUI, SUI, have weathered the storm and are still a great investment opportunity today. It has quickly become one of the leading altcoins in this market, and let's consider why here. First of all, SUI is killing it in terms of all the big sectors that it supports. So I'm talking about DeFi. That is where SUI crossed $1 billion in TVL and is almost at $1.5 billion in record time. SUI liquidity aggregator Deepbook also launched its DEEP token, DEEP, in October, which is holding up well despite the tough market conditions. Walrus is changing the game in decentralized data storage. Its token launch is coming very soon. And Solana builders are building on SUI now with integrations like Phantom and Backpack. SUI even has a small but growing meme coin market for the meme coin lovers out there. If you have not used SUI lately, then come give it a try. And also follows SUI's X account for all the latest updates. Check out the links that you'll find in the description of this video below. Next up, we're looking at Ethereum here, and we're asking the question if this is a good time to stack up on ETH. For those of you who love looking at on-chain data, you probably know what MVRV is. That's market value versus realized value. And RV is the price at the last time the coin moved. So when this number dips below 1, as it has just done recently, that's actually a great buying opportunity, in this case for Ethereum. And whales are buying. Right now, whales are actually expressing a lot of confidence in terms of their actions. They feel it's a good time to stack, kind of when everyone else has written off an asset, in this case, Ethereum. But is it going to make Ethereum pump? That's the important question that we need to answer here. Is there a causal link here between the price of an asset and the activity that whales are carrying out? Well, Vitalik actually had a lot to say this weekend about Ethereum as well. He said that if Ethereum replaces EVM with RISCV, then it would scale much easier and a whole lot quicker. RISCV is already in use at Polkadot and successfully. It works better with supercomputer or quantum computer systems, as well as having clearer instructions and simpler architecture to build upon. It also works better with ZK systems, which many see as the future of privacy and layer 2 scaling. We actually have a lot more coming out on this topic as we look at how Ethereum is really doing, so stay tuned for that in the days and weeks ahead. But look, there's really no denying it right now. Institutions like BNY Mellon are here to use Ethereum for its assets on chain, and institutions and other whales are right now accumulating Ethereum. They see the dip, they're scooping it up, they're buying it.
The new laws that are being passed, like the market structure bill and the stablecoin bill in the United States, and where MiCA is solidifying, what's going to end up happening is the big guys, the Magnificent Seven, are going to come into crypto, and that's going to bring 3 billion users into crypto. You're going to have cryptocurrency wallet in your Android phone. You're going to have a cryptocurrency wallet in your iPhone. You're going to have a cryptocurrency wallet Windows, and they're going to be using stablecoins. It's not because Papa Satya over at Microsoft is like, boy, I love crypto. It's he hates paying fees. If you're Microsoft, you got people in 150 countries, and you hate some local bank in Bangladesh or Pakistan or someplace charges you 5% here or 10% here. You want to get rid of that whole thing. So why not pay them in stablecoins, Windows to Windows, and you're your own bank. Plus, if they're issuing that token, they could wake up just like Tether does and get $20-30 billion a year in yield from treasury bills.
And then finally for today, we have Cardano. Recently, Charles Hoskinson of Cardano said this new crypto legislation that we're going to be talking about in a moment here is going to bring in big tech like Amazon and Apple, as well as 3 billion people worldwide. Cardano is also pushing very hard right now into RWA, real-world assets, which is one of a few reasons, actually, why whales are very interested, once again, in Cardano and ADA. This is a new milestone, and with it, all the audits and verifications are done so that RWA platforms or new protocols can come to Cardano in a compliant way. And then, of course, as you can probably imagine and predict, digital onboarding is next. Right now, Empowa is one of the names to look at in the Cardano ecosystem for homegrown access to RWA. We expect some of the bigger names to come to the chain very soon as well. With a projected $2 trillion market cap by 2030, Cardano's working pretty hard to get its piece of the pie. For now, a lot of chains are independent or part of EVM, but with Cardano's established community, we do expect them to get a foothold in this very rapidly growing sector.